And we're live. Welcome to the Pharmacy Seeds Network live stream. How's everybody doing tonight? Sorry for the short notice. It was a long day today. Wasn't sure I was going to have any energy for a live stream. But it looks like I do, and I liked how this live stream worked out last week. We had a chance for viewers to interact a little bit, and I rarely get to do that in the Sunday night live stream nets, so that was nice. And I guess we'll give it a minute, see if anybody comes in. I didn't see my pre-notification go out for some reason. But it looks like it's showing me live, so that's good. Ha, you're late. Ha, you're not late. You're right on time. We're only a minute into the stream. How you doing, Michelle? Good to see you in here. How's your week going so far? I was saying before, sorry for the short notice. Had a very long day today. So I wasn't sure I was even going to do a live tonight, but seemed to have good interest last year, or yeah, see, last week. So I thought I would try one again. Good to see you as well. Vertical gardening, nice. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. Ribbit. Yeah, vertical's nice. I do a lot of that here on the farm here also, when and where I can. On the scale that I'm on, which is not, it's not a huge farm. We're more of a homestead here, but the scale that I'm on, the infrastructure to do that can add up pretty quick. So I've done it where I can afford to do it, and it definitely pays off with tomatoes and stuff like that. I'd like to do more of it. I'd like to do some of the squash and that kind of stuff I do with the vertical system. But that infrastructure takes time to develop and takes some investment. I've managed to take good advantage of like cutting poles on the property for a lot of that stuff, but like with the tomatoes, I use cattle fencing and then electric fence wire and cedar wooden post, and that works really nice. The one year I had tomatoes, I think they were 8 or 9 feet tall at the end of the season, and if I tried to manage those on anything other than vertical, it would just be a tangled jungle mess. What are you growing in your vertical system this year? 30 by 20, that's a nice sized garden. Cattle panels are the ticket. Yeah, if you can swing the money for them, do it. They're really nice. You can set posts and just lash to the post with like an electric fence wire or some heavy duty wire, and you got a nice trellis system in place. And if you set your post good and deep so you have a solid base, all you got to do is clean those off at the end of the season and plant right into them the following year. And if you start doing foliar feeds and mulches and really building your soil, then you're right in place where your good soil is for the following season. And that'll really pay off for you over time. yeah, I wish I could. I wish I could go out and get probably another 40 or 50 cattle panels. My mom's friend actually gave me how many was it? Maybe 10, something like that. It worked out to about, I think it's about 96 feet in length, with a 6-inch overlap where they meet up at posts. And man, that really made things nice. That gives a really nice stiff framework for for tomatoes or whatever you're growing. For me, I do my beefsteak tomatoes on there, and it's the only thing that holds that much weight up. I've actually had wire and posts structure collapse on me before, just from too much weight. Hey, Geeky, a cute puppy ad, huh? Yeah, I don't know what they're selling either. Tomatoes, squash, green beans, birdhouse gourd. I was curious about foliar feeding. Super green on that topic. Well, what do you want to know? I'll tell you as much as I can tell you. I mean, the foliar feeds are really the ticket when you want to improve plant health and photosynthesis quickly. 40 more seconds. You don't have to watch the ads, Geeky. Come on. I mean, I appreciate it, but you don't have to watch that. All right, he can't even hear me because he's watching the ad. I'm talking to myself sometimes, huh, Michelle? Oh yeah, I got a ton of videos. I think we're closing on 700 soon here. But yeah, the foliar feeds are a really excellent way to target nutrition. Um, how you doing, Geeky? For future reference, you don't need to watch the ads. I appreciate it, but it's not necessary, man. I'm just glad to have you along. That goes for all my viewers. It's nice that you guys, some of you guys do that, but it's not necessary at all. Justin Good Earth, what's going on? 20 plants in huge beds in the greenhouse. Nice. Nice. Cannabis plants, I assume, since you're out in a nice legal state. You're in Oregon, if I remember correctly, right? Well, if they're cute puppies and you like it, then by all means watch the ad. Who am I to say? Yeah, I talk to myself all day too, Michelle. Give yourself a pep talk. I give myself pep talks all the day, all day long, and I also make fun of myself all day long because I laugh at how ridiculous some of my thoughts are. So don't feel bad. Nice, Justin. What strain are you growing? I don't know if you guys know it or not, but Justin's a legal cannabis grower out in Oregon. And if you haven't seen his channel, you should go check it out. He's got some really cool videos and some beautiful, beautiful cannabis plants. I'm envious. I wish New York would legalize, like really legalize. Someday, maybe. What are we up to now? 26 or 28 states, Justin, that are legal? I mean, New York decriminalized and they legalized for medicinal, but they haven't legalized recreational, and they haven't legalized, being able to grow your own or anything like that. It's just ridiculous to have a plant that's illegal. Oh yeah, Geeky? Oh nice. Too many strains, Heavy on the sativa, nice. Nice. I like the sativas myself. Big fan of sativas. Any Super Silver Haze in that mix? Or Cinderella 99? Or... It's been a while. Hey, Chris Jarvis. How's it going? They're just now in Cincinnati. Good, good. Yeah, man. I mean, it helps a lot of people through the pain. And there's just so many other medicinal benefits of it. Like, it's such a versatile plant. There's no reason we shouldn't be growing it. Yeah, I know. I've heard a lot of that, Justin. There's a lot of mixed stuff. I know there were some legal dispensaries in California that the feds came in and kicked their doors in and seized all their stuff. And, like, this whole failed war on drugs is just ridiculous. But what are you gonna do? Yeah, exactly, geeky. How do you make a plant illegal? Especially when you have like I'm a cigarette smoker. Like tobacco's legal and cannabis isn't. Cannabis is way more beneficial for the human health than tobacco. Yep, I heard that too, Justin. Shutting people down. This whole we're in a weird environment right now. Infused butter. Yeah, yeah. I got off an opioid. Yeah, yeah. It's a Congolese land race. Oh, nice, nice. Have you ever seen that? I think the YouTube channel. I think it's called Strain Hunters, where they go all over the planet looking at landrace strains. That is just a fascinating series of videos. Since '88, huh, Chris? Well, I can't talk about I can't talk about that because of where I am. But I'm with you. I'll put it that way. Oh, cigarette smoker or cannabis smoker, Chris? Maybe I misunderstood your statement there about the failed war. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They're creating the black market, and then they can continue with their funding for that by taking our tax money and using it against us. Pretty vicious cycle. Cigarettes, okay, okay. Yeah, I've been smoking since, well, on and off since I was 14. Really, like, kind of an addicted smoker since 18. Ha! That's what I do, Andy. I buy the Farmer's Gold tobacco and make my own cigarettes. I got one of those Tops desktop cigarette machines. Boy, that made a huge difference. I had to do that when I got laid off back in 2009. I got to a point where I couldn't afford cigarettes, and I was going nuts. Bummer! Let's smoke about it. I'm game. Yeah, so that cigarette machine saves a tremendous amount of money. Here in New York, cigarettes are about $12 a pack, and it's like 450% tax. Back in the day, that tobacco would all be in the ocean in the harbor. Sorry. Cigarette party. Boston cigarette party. Oh, wow, Michelle. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know people that are going through chemo. I know a pretty close friend of mine actually is, well, he's got stage 4 cancer. I guess he's basically dying of cancer. And he has to play that whole dodge game too. It's ridiculous that someone is sick and dying can't have access to a plant that helps them through the pain and makes it so that they can eat, so they can keep proper nutrition, so they can have some chance of surviving it. Because that's what kills a lot of the cancer patients as well as AIDS patients, is they just can't eat, and then they don't have nutrition, and then their body can't fight off anything. It's really a frustrating cycle. Yeah, I save so much money too, Andy. I smoke, oh boy, in all honesty, I smoke about a carton of cigarettes a week. And if I had to buy that, as cigarette packs, it'd be like $120, $130 a week. And so with the tobacco and tubes, it's about $15 a week, which I'm still smoking too much. I need to cut that back, but we're getting back into the growing season here, and that'll have me outside and active more. and I'll have less idle time with my hands, which is really when I smoke a lot of cigarettes. Both passed away from it. I'm sorry to hear that, Chris. YTFP. Are you? You must be. Are you asking me if I grow my own? No, I can't. I'm in New York State. I can't. I can't grow. I can't even possess cannabis here. It's a ridiculous thought, but yeah, I can't. I did grow my own tobacco a few years back. Well, it's probably close to 10 years ago now, and I had some beautiful tobacco plants. The problem was curing. I didn't have a facility for drying and curing properly, and it's a long drying curing process. Yeah, okay, I understand you now. YTFP, Chris. Yeah, so I did grow my own tobacco. I still have seeds, and we may try that again this year. My son Jeremy is also a cigarette smoker, and I'd like to try it again. And now that I have the greenhouse, I might actually be able to dry and cure it properly. That was the big problem before. It gets cold up here pretty early, and tobacco really needs good high temperatures, and you need to go through a humidity and drying cycle every day. Like down in the south, they put them in tobacco barns, and my understanding is they open those up in the daytime, and that lets it dry out a bit, and then at night they close it back up, and they maintain some pretty high temperatures in there, and that humidity is part of that drying curing process. And if you don't do that, you get really harsh tobacco, and trust me, I smoked some really harsh tobacco from tobacco I grew years back. And then the next part of that is the shredding part. To get that shred right, you need just the right machine, and I haven't had a chance to develop that yet. But I really would like to be growing my own tobacco, because then I would know it was 100% chemical free. I mean, the stuff I'm buying is way better than any cigarette you'd buy in the store, but I know they're still using chemicals on the tobacco, and like, it's my one crutch or downfall, really. You really want to quit? You also really don't want to quit. Yeah, I'm the same way, Bomber. And I know you and I have talked about this before. Yeah, part of me wants to quit because I know it's good for my health, but I also really enjoy my cigarettes. And when I sit down and have a think on something, man, there's nothing better for that than having a cigarette in my hand. It is what it is. Every time I think about quitting, I don't know, I can't get past the fact that I actually really enjoy smoking a cigarette. So did you manage to get out and catch the full moon this morning, Bomber? Ah, here it's healthy for much better benefits it does possess. Actually use a mask to quit. The air restriction helps satiate long enough to get over the roller coasters. Interesting. I actually find my live streams help me cut down on smoking, because I don't really want to be smoking on camera, because I don't want to put anybody off who's not a smoker. And you wouldn't believe how many people go, I can't believe you're into nutrition and health and organic, and then you smoke cigarettes. It's like, well, everybody's got a crutch. Everybody's got a vice. Called Tech One, made in Germany, and it's awesome. Awesome, Andy. Love a coffee and a smoke. Yes, Bomber. Don't drink either of those anymore. Now I just smoke. Oh, and a glass of wine and a smoke. I haven't had a glass of wine in forever. I do like a glass of wine from time to time, but it's been a very long time. But the coffee and a cigarette, for sure. Like, that's my morning thing. That's like coffee and a smoke. I have I have about a quart of water, fresh spring water when I wake up, and then after that I have my my cigarette and oh, hey, Bob. One sec. I have my cigarette, my coffee, and that's my wake up routine. Bomber, it's so hard to quit for a month. Sleeplessness is the worst part. Ah, okay, Michelle. I didn't realize you were an ex-smoker also. Bob, The hive is doing good so far. I popped the cover off tonight just to have a look, and good activity in there still. And well, I don't want to give this secret away yet, but I think I'll say it here in the live stream. We had a swarm today, Bob, and I captured it, and they stuck with the hive so far, so looking good. So yeah, and thanks again for your help with the hives the other day, and I think that hive's going to come through good, and having seen that swarm come out today, that makes me think that those queen cells that we moved over in that smaller box probably did have eggs in them, so that's really encouraging. Your other addiction is the dew, as in the Mountain Dew, Chris. Oh man, I can't drink that stuff. That stuff makes my heart go crazy. I actually had wicked chest pains one day from drinking Mountain Dew. I don't touch that stuff anymore. That would be a good one to give up. If I'm not drinking coffee, I'm usually drinking spring water. I really don't drink much else. Rare occasion I'll have like a ginger beer or something like that. Maybe every 6 months I'll have like a regular beer. Let's see, let me catch up here. Sunrise at 6 a.m., up at 6:15, didn't bother. But did hold a ceremony in my apartment. Not the same as being at the river, but all intentions and connections, right? Smudged at 6:45, full moon. Yeah, that's right, Bomber. That's right. Yeah, I won't give any more spoiler alerts away. I got a swarm. I'll put it that way. Work in a natural product store, and a few customers have caught me, and they make a big deal about it. I tell them it's not a job, it's a way of life. Yeah, exactly, Michelle. And, the other thing that I always try to make the point of with people is like, okay, yes, I'm a smoker. Yes, that have a negative effect on my health. What better motivation could I have to improve my nutrition to try and overcome the negative effects of smoking? They always just shake their head and, go judgmental on it, but whatever. Go ahead and judge. Yeah, Geeky, it was good. Jeremy did the filming, and yeah, I don't want to give away too many spoilers. Native American tobacco is part of my culture. Ah, okay, yeah. Oh, let's see. Have you ever tried any of the stronger, like older tobacco strains, Andy? Like one strain I had was Oklahoma Mennonite. I think that was 17% nicotine content. More on the spiritual level side of things. And I don't know if you guys know it or not, but there are some shaman who smoke some really intense tobacco, and they actually they use that as part of their shamanic ritual. Very interesting thing to look into. Did I read up on the hornets? I did, Chris. Thank you for sharing that link with me. And actually, I'm planning to make a video coming up on that. And it appears that our European honeybee can actually beat them out, although obviously that's fierce competition. But I did some reading up on it. Yes, I did. Thank you for sharing that. You were the first one to bring that to my attention, so you were right on it. Thank you. Yeah, Bomber, I'm really excited about the swarm. I was really stoked. Full moon day today, man. The swarm and my speckled hen started acting broody today too. So there you go. Jordan B, how you doing? Good to see you in here. All have to pick our poison. Yes, we do. It's also beautiful, so you have to weigh both ends. You get pleasure from it. Yes, exactly. Yeah, you got to be happy. I mean, happiness is probably a bigger factor in health than anything else. Your mental state. Remember that. Mind over matter. Yeah, that's a good line too, Bomber. Oh, that's right. Your internet service is not live stream friendly. Well, let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't want Bob to think I'm holding back on him. I'd be more than happy to share, but I know Bomber doesn't want the video spoiled. You think bald-faced hornets might give them a run for their money? Their stingers can have 50 up your shirt in a second in Oregon. Oh, bald-faced hornets are nasty. I got stung. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I got stung when I was a kid. I was about 9 years old. I got stung right on the nose by a bald-faced or white-faced hornet, and man, that was one of the worst stings I ever had. And I've been stung by them a couple other times too. They're nasty. Oh, you like the scruff, Jordan? Well, thank you. uh, you're going to be disappointed soon, because as soon as I can get to a barber and get a haircut, I'm taking this all off. I'm going summer mode. I know a lot of people get upset that I shave the beard, but it's got to go. I need to cool off in the summer. Yeah, bomber soap opera. Farms bees. Does anybody have any specific questions they want to ask? Any topics they want to talk about? I know Michelle mentioned foliar feeds before. Is there any like basic questions you want to ask about foliar feeds, Michelle? Or anyone else for that matter? Oh yeah. Amazon's been slow on delivery and out of stock on stuff, and yeah. I finally broke down and just ordered some masks. I was sick of using towels and bandanas as for face masks, so I finally just broke down and ordered some, and that's pretty much all the masks I could find weren't even going to show delivery until July. I did finally find some that'll come in next week, which is the fastest I could find. And trying to think what else I ordered on Amazon recently that was it was just a long delay. Oh, it was tire tubes for Jeremy's bike, and even that was I don't know, 10 or 12 days. Usually Amazon's pretty quick. Yeah, July. I was like, it might be over by then. I mean, I doubt it, but it might. Spray tomatoes with aspirin water to stress them a bit to improve flavor. Yes, I've read up on that. I wouldn't do that. I would focus on nutrition. What that does is, let's see, that's an induced systemic response, or ISR. And it basically shifts the hormones into plants. It can help, but it doesn't address any of the nutritional deficiencies, and you really want to go back and address deficiencies. What kind of soil do you have, Michelle? Well, thank you, Jordan. That's very sweet. A Boba Fett charcoal mask. Nice. I'd look up foliar feed and not heard of it. Seems if you would get nutrient burn. Never thought that could be a thing. Yes, you can get nutrient burn. You definitely have to set your foliar feeds not to exceed a certain level. Usually we run about 2% solution, but it has tremendous benefits because the plants can absorb those nutrients in anywhere as short as 15 minutes, as long as 48 hours. And so if you have a soil deficiency and you're in an organic program, you put down a nutrient, it can take up to 45 days for that nutrient to even be available in the soil, and at that point your plant is already way beyond and crashed. So the foliar feed, the plants can take it up quickly, and then the secondary benefit you get from that is it accelerates photosynthesis. That sends more, that in accelerating photosynthesis you improve plant health. That makes the plant have extra energy. Now it can send down more exudates to the soil, which feeds the microbial activity in the soil, which accelerates nutrient release. And so you spin the whole cycle up very quickly. That said, foliar feeds have to be targeted, specific to the deficiencies in the plant, to the soil you're working in. You have to consider all the environmental factors. But I can hook you up with some links if you want something that'll just help cover broad and general stuff to get you started. And I got to catch up here. Any techniques on getting a better yield on okra? You know, I've never grown okra, Justin, so I don't know, but I would say improve photosynthesis. And there's 4 or 5 nutrients you want to target on that specifically. If you remind me, I'll dig up a link for you on that. It was a link from NOFAMAS with John Kempf. I think it was Soil Nutrition Conference 2018. Hey, Green Dream Project. I tried to come into your stream before, but my computer was glitching on me, and I had to reboot in time to catch this and trying to run this live stream. So I apologize I didn't get in sooner. But congratulations on finishing your rainwater harvesting tank. If you guys haven't seen what those guys are doing out in Arizona, check it out. They're doing some awesome stuff. Will you talk to us about soil as if we're very new to soil, as if we know nothing about nutrients in soil? Where do I start? Let me catch up on a few other comments here before they get out ahead of me. But I'll come back to that, Bomber, for sure. Living across the center, so it feels it's well fertilized. Downhill from it, it's well drained. Wish we had more info. Okay, so you have lots of manure from ruminant animals. That's excellent. That means you have manure and biology. That's a really good start. Yes, you have to have a strong food web. Microbial communities are actually just as important, if not more important, than the nutrition in the soil, because those microbial communities can unlock that soil. Again, just like gut biology, it comes back to soil biology. In fact, really, when you look at a plant, the digestive tract of the plant, yes, Bob, video coming later tonight, or it might not be uploaded till tomorrow, but it's definitely coming. The digestive tract of the plant is the soil. So if you look at the soil as like you would like a person, or look at the plant like you would a person, and the soil like that's the digestive tract, that's kind of the model you want to kind of understand as a basic. Let me go back and catch up here. Green Gene, Jordan, nothing about gardening or soil. I'd love to. I don't either. No, some natural things. Stick of soil, lime, crushed eggshell, use tea bags, banana peel, but that's it. Yes, those are all good components, Bomber. Yeah, I wasn't even sure if my comments were going through because they didn't seem to be going through. But I have a failing second hard drive here. I have redundant hard drives, and one of them is failing, and every once in a while it glitches up, and then everything kind of crashes, and I have to defragment, reboot, come back up. And I haven't had the money to get the new drive or the time to do the switch over to put the new RAID array back online. Such a pain. Lime equals like. Okay. Love to tend to little earthling plants. Yeah. Hey, Jordan, start with something small. Start with pots and herbs and work your way up. You could grow some of your own herbs. One I highly recommend is holy basil. Look up the health benefits of holy basil. That stuff is like super healing, super beneficial, and the flavor is phenomenal, and so is the smell. It's like really in wide spectrum of smell. Not YouTube, but no idea about the soil. Actually feel a bond to 2 houseplants have. Yeah, and actually the more you look into plant consciousness, the more you'll find plants are conscious. Yes, exactly, Green Dream Project. You can have all the minerals you want in the soil, but if you don't have the microbial community, it's not available to the plants, and it doesn't matter. That's exactly right. Yeah, the digestive tract of the plant. Yeah, that came from John Kempf and AEA and NOFAMAS and the Bionutrient Food Association. Yeah, those guys are, man, excellent information. Read some Jeff Lowenfeld. The whole teaming series is awesome. I'll have to check that out. Jeff Lowenfeld. Thanks, Justin. Synthetic nutrients makes them ready available, but ultimately makes the plants and soil weaker. Yeah, and not only that, Green Dream Project, synthetic nutrients kill many of those microbial communities. So if you go out and put out synthetic nutrients at the beginning of the season, you've compromised the digestive tract of the plant and the soil microbe community for the entire rest of the growing season. You just did yourself damage right off the bat trying to do good for the plants. That's exactly right. Yeah, by the way, if you guys don't know, Jim and Jessica are well studied in permaculture, and they're doing a lot of, like, they're starting to build their permaculture stuff out there in Arizona in a desert environment, which is a very challenging environment, and they're doing it really well. Yeah, when you love them, they love you back. I've actually gotten to the point now when I give plants a foliar feed, I can feel them thanking me when I'm done, and that may sound kind of quacky, but it's there. It's there, and it's back to that intuition. When you can tune your intuition, you can really be much more conscious and aware of things than we normally consider ourselves to be capable of. Teaming with microbes. Okay, I remember that. Like, that rings a bell, but I can't remember exactly where I came across that. But I'm pretty sure I saw some of that too. But the name Jeff Lowenfeld doesn't necessarily ring a bell. You don't mean Jeff Lawton, do you? Jeff Lawton and Bill Mollison, the permaculture guys? How do you get microbes in the soil? There's lots of ways to do that. Yes, cannabis does love metal. Lots of ways to do that. Number one, putting down manure from ruminant animals is an excellent source of microbial communities. And in fact, the digestive tract of ruminant animals, and when I say ruminant animals, I mean like cows are especially good, goats, horses, these type of animals. Their digestive tract is very similar to the microbial communities in soil. And actually, cows don't even get their nutrition from the food they eat. They get their nutrition from the microbes in their gut from the food that they eat. So they eat that food, those microbes eat that food, and then the cows get the nutrition from the result of the microbes, right? So it's really interesting how that works. Oh, you definitely need to read up on holy basil, Geeky. Yeah, the holy basil is, there's a reason it's called holy basil. It is the holy bale of basil. Basil. I got Grazel on the mind. Yes, cannabis does absorb radiation like sunflowers and rice, but you can go in a good way or a bad way with that. If they're toxic metals, it'll take them up, but if you get the right metals in the right chelation and the right spectral adjustment, you can take it the other way. Jeff Lowenfeld, different name. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Thank you. And let's see, Bob. Internet is about 10 minutes behind the comments. I'll catch up on the air. A new antenna mounted, trying to make new contacts. Awesome, Bob. No worries. I have to get my antenna more than 4 feet off the ground. It's on my list. Sorry, guys. I know Bob's internet is not great, so I just want to type and make sure he's able to receive my communication so far. Yes, bunny poop is good too, Bomber. I'm not too familiar with the microbial community of the bunny guts. Sounds kind of funny. But yes, it's an excellent nutrient for sure. Justin might actually be able to tell you more about bunny poop. I just haven't had access to large amounts of it, so I've never worked with it specifically, so I don't know what the nutrient profile is. But you could just go online and look up like NPK ratio for starters, just to have a general understanding of, from normal agricultural mentality on it. And I'm sure you could find out more about the microbial community associated with it. But yes, bunny poop will work, and I know you have a bunny, which makes that really easy. Yes, holy basil is adaptogenic, and actually I had a huge amount of it. In fact, I've got a video from last year where my honeybees were collecting pollen and nectar from the holy basil, and the color of their pollen sacs is this beautiful, like, mauve red color. If you haven't seen that video, you should go check it out. It's really cool. And the honey that I got from that is just mind-blowingly delicious. Mind-blowingly delicious. I know it was mixed with all kinds of other wild stuff too. Yes, fungi is excellent. In fact, you really need the bacterial and the fungal community both. You can't just have one. You need both, and they will actually interact with each other to some degree and actually balance each other out. If you get things working even partially correct, they'll start to balance themselves. Worm casting are excellent, high in nitrogen, high in calcium, and worm castings, worms are very much, and actual worms in your soil is even better. Worms are kind of like a cross between the chicken and the cow as far as biology goes, like gut biology. So they are super, super, super excellent. And worm castings are excellent also. And obviously those castings will have some of that biology in it, provided they aren't just dried out completely. And they probably even would carry some even then. Well, you know, Bomber, it depends what you're growing for anything, but, you know, all plants need a certain level of nutrition. The trick is not to overdo it and not to underdo it, and that's where it gets tricky. But, you know, just don't put too much on. The more you can get that, like, cooked down or composted a little bit first, the better off it'll be, the more it'll be available, and the less likely it'll be to burn things on you. Oh yeah, holy basil. Check it. Look, just go into my channel and do a search for holy basil. I probably got a bunch of videos on there on it, because I was so stoked to have it, and I'll definitely be growing more of that this year. Chickens for poop and worm bins for casting. Yeah, that's excellent. I have chickens for manure here too, and a friend of mine just contacted me actually about some horse manure, and I brought in some goat manure 2 years ago, or last year. I think it was 2 years ago, and goat manure is excellent also. Yes, symbiosis, Michelle, exactly, and that applies not just to fungi and bacteria, but also the plant. That whole thing is an interactive community going in and out. You know, from the plant, from the sunlight to the soil to the bacteria who feed the fungi, and the fungi feed the bacteria, and it's all interactive. And these communities are super complex. Ah, see, there you go. Geeky Gardens knows. Rabbit poo is great for nearly all plants. It's cold manure and can be applied direct or in teas. Teas are probably your best way to go early on to get it into the soil quickly, and then I would top dress and then mulch over that later on, so that so the microbial communities can actually come up and pull that down into the soil as it's needed. If you haven't checked out Korean natural farming, that's another whole interesting can of worms to open, so to speak. You can make your own microbe teas, and there's one farmer who actually creates his own compost and puts it down on top of his soil after he plants his crops, and then mulches over that, and you know, same effect as if you put that manure down in the soil, but without disturbing the soil. One of the problems with tilling, I mean, I till too, but one of the problems you get with tilling is when you start doing that, you're mixing up that whole community and soil structure. I have a couple of videos on soil structure and mulching and that sort of stuff. Definitely worth checking out. I can't remember the title names though at the moment. Yeah, exactly, Geeky. I'd use tea. Yeah. If you grow a cover crop and then cut it down and cover it with straw, the worms decompose will start a nice food, but then you just keep layering and feeding. Yes, exactly, Justin. The thing I love the most, leaves. Like, I go out in the forest here with I have a thatch rake, and I rake up leaves from the maple forest here and bring them in. And one year I got a hold of oak leaves, and those were even better. And the landscaper guy that I was talking to, he's like, doesn't that make the soil too acidic? I was like, no, you actually need a little acid in your compost to act as an energy shot to open those nutrients up to kind of crack that cycle going. Not too much, but a little bit. And yeah, the oak leaves and maple leaves were amazing. The other thing you get with that is all that fungal and bacterial biology that's on those comes in with them. But yeah, cover crops too. I did some buckwheat last year, and I actually want to get up to more multiple species crops. If you can get at least 3 species, you get a tremendous benefit. And then when you get up over 7 or 8 species, things really start to explode. Gabe Brown, I think, is a guy who talks about cover crops and multi-species use of cover crops. Palmer, yum, bunny poop tea. It's not for drinking for you, it's for your plants. Yeah, I thought you mentioned you did KNF, no till style. Yeah, for people who don't know, that's Korean natural farming, and there's a whole archive on the Bionutrient Food Association website in their media library on Korean natural farming. If you haven't heard that, I highly recommend it. And there's one guy who's a geologist who talks about how we view soil geology as happening over millions of years, and in fact, it's happening in real time. And he goes into a lot of the details and specifics about that. So that's well worth checking out as well. Yeah, Bomber, but I mean, you can grow a lot in pots. I know you don't have a lot of space, but man, uh, you can do so much there. Yeah, adding maple leaves is good. Even better if you can get a mulch on top and get some worms into those pots, Bomber. That'll make a huge difference. Yeah, oh, you're lucky, Geeky. I can't get enough leaves here. I mean, I'm around 20,000 square feet last year. It's hard to cover 20,000 square feet in 6 to 8 inches of leaves. Uh, I need a more efficient method of that. I've tried to get a couple landscapers to like deliver leaves when they clean them up in the fall, but it's really hard to synchronize with those guys. Especially I don't have a cell phone, so I'm not like immediately available all day. Yes, acorn is a great food source, and for those who don't know, you can make flour with it. And if you want to know more about that, go check out Arthur Haynes' channel on YouTube about how to process acorns. You have to soak them for like 2 or 3 days and flush them to get the tannins out. But once you do that, you can make an awesome flour, and it's super nutritious. Yeah, pine needles they make a good mulch also. And everybody says, oh, they're too acidic. No, they're not. Don't overdo it with them, but yeah, they make a great mulch. Anything you can do to cover the soil. Just remember, when you look around in nature, you don't see forest with bare soil. There's always some kind of matter on top of the soil, and that's cooking down. The biology is pulling that down, and that's protecting the soil from sun and heat and ultraviolet, and that's what helps keep those microbes alive underneath. Um, so yeah, study and mimic nature. It's so important. Yeah, vertical gardening, Bomber. In pots and vertical garden, you could probably grow quite a bit of stuff in your small space there. Yeah, yeah. Don't yeah. Geeky's right. Don't use green needles. Use dry needles. Use dead brown needles. Pine pitch, pine needle baskets, famine. Yeah, pine bark. Yeah, as a it can also be made into flour. And hey, let's not forget pine pollen. This is the right time of year for it. Go check out Arthur Haynes' channel on harvesting pine pollen and all of the medicinal benefits of that. Vitamins A, B, C, and D, plus hormonal balance. Super, super, super healthy food. Superfood. Uh, Man, amazing stuff. The pine tree, there's a reason the pine tree is so revered. Uh, KNF, you should look up Chris Trump. No relation to the dude in the White House. I wouldn't think so. Studied from Master Cho and has a bunch of great informative stuff. Okay, awesome. Awesome. And yeah, I believe Master Cho is also referenced in, I'm not sure if he was a speaker at this Soil Nutrition Conference, but he's referenced in there as well. One of the guys that talks at that conference, I think, studied directly under Master Cho. So excellent information. Chris Trump. I guess I won't forget that name. Get a skid from a local grocery store, add some backing and cover the edges, and you get a perfect fertile garden. Nice, Bomber, nice. Baskets, yes, for basket weaving. Yeah, the pine tree is like one of the most versatile plants in our ecosystem. Um, a big circle with no grass. It used to have a pool on it. Don't even know what I could grow there because I know nothing of soil. Well, I would start with putting down a mulch and protecting that soil from continuous sunlight and radiation, and then go from there. You'd be amazed if you put mulch, a heavy layer of like leaf mulch or something like that down, and just let that cook down over time. You'd be amazed how quickly that'll change that soil. Is there sand in there too? Because the sand, the sand can be good or bad. Pandemic panic purchase was a vertical planter for the front porch. Nice, Geeky. Want to do a pollinator garden because I worry if I planted veggies, bunnies would get to it. I suppose I'd have to get some sort of fencing around it, though I've never done that either. Yeah, you can just go out and experiment, Jordan. Experiment and learn. And, when you run into a problem, look it up or come into the live stream here and ask questions. I'm more than happy to, help people along with this kind of stuff. All day about vertical gardening, ants in your pants. Yeah. Pine pollen helps boost testosterone and balance out hormones with the rest of the endocrine system. Exactly, YTFP. And not only that, it also is good for women too. It's an and endo androgynous compound or something like that. It balances hormones in a positive way, whether you're male or female. It's good for both, and it helps balance your whole endocrine system. Exactly. All planted for pollinators last year. I talked to the bees and butterflies too. Invite them back and tell them. Yeah, exactly, Bomber. They respond to that. I find they respond to that, and they respond to your intention so well. They know your intention. There was sand there, but there's plastic under it, and then dirt. Plastic under it. How thick? One of the deep south is using a bit pricey, but we'll build and look at the front. Well, I'll be looking forward to seeing that, Geeky. Did you put a video up on that yet, and I just missed it? If not, I'll be looking forward to seeing that. Okay, Justin, thanks for coming in. Yeah, I'm going to jump over to the portal here in a little while myself. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for all your insight and thoughts. I really appreciate it. Look forward to chatting again. I'll have to look into some of those names you mentioned. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you can buy pine pollen online. It's expensive though. There's good reason for that. It takes some time to harvest it, but go check out that Arthur Haynes video on how to harvest it. It's way easier if you do it the Arthur Haynes way. And for those who don't know, Arthur Haynes is a plant taxonomist out of Maine. That guy is super knowledgeable. He's got several books out about wild foraging, and yeah, look into him more. What an educator. What a great educator. Him and Daniel Vitalis. Those guys have done some podcasts together on Daniel Vitalis's podcast. Excellent discussions. Just excellent discussions. Sand, a thin layer of plastic, and then dirt. I pull the plastic out of there. You don't want estrogen mimicking compounds and toxins leaching out. Yeah, pull it out. That'll make a huge difference right there. I mean, a thin layer of plastic, and yeah, get the plastic out. No vid yet, but it's coming. I figured it would be, Kiki. Yeah, I love my pollinators too, Bomber. I love my bees. I love seeing the bumblebees and the butterflies and all of that. Yeah, tarp type plastic. I mean, you'd be better off with that on top of the soil if you're going to have plastic down. But you're better off to just get the plastic out of there and put down some leaf mulch or, whatever organic material you can get that's from a clean source. Don't get it from somebody who's had their yard sprayed for ticks 25 times and is loaded with toxins. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, I got a clip of a bumblebee today in the video that'll be up and coming. Probably won't really be up until late tonight or early tomorrow. Probably be early tomorrow by the time I get done editing. I started editing, but then time got away from me. It was kind of a long day today. Yeah, they are kind of like the teddy bears of insects. Native American Ethnobotany by Daniel E. Mormon is a great book. It's expensive. Sometimes you can find when you use top of list. I would imagine that would be an excellent book. Anything by the Native Americans. Yeah, if you go back and look at what the Native Americans were doing and how they managed ecosystems, they really had it down. And then us of European descent and others came in and slashed and burned and created the Dust Bowl. And the Midwest topsoil went from 8 feet of dark humic matter to 6 inches max now out there, just from our horrible practices. Sad. But fortunately, we're starting to learn and come around again, and there's a huge awakening going on right now regarding regenerative farming people are seeing all the things that are dying and happening, and they're responding. Yeah, the three sisters are great. Corn, squash, and beans. And if you look at the different root structures of those and microbial communities associated with those, it makes a lot more sense why that works so well. And you know, a lot of people they pick on corn as a no pun intended, as a crop that depletes soil. But if you grow corn organically, correctly, corn builds soil at tremendous rates. Corn is a C4 plant, which means it can photosynthesize day and night. And so it can put a tremendous amount of exudates back into the soil. And that's really how you build humic matter and sequester carbon. So it's an amazing tool if you use it correctly. It's like any tool. Use a tool wrong, you're going to hurt yourself or hurt what you're working on. And if you use it right, it's powerful. You're very welcome, Michelle. Looking forward to sharing experiences with the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it as well. Thanks for coming in, everybody. This was a great stream. I'm so glad to have such a great discussion in here. Yeah, last Thursday was very inspiring for me. It made me want to come back and do another one, even though it's been a long day. And I'm kind of in a cramped time slot here. No, not all of them are, Bomber. In fact, most of the sweet corns are hybrids. They're not GMO seeds. They're just hybrids. They're pretty limited genetic pool. But you can also still get heirloom seeds. I have one heirloom called, you're very welcome, Jordan. I have one heirloom called Double Standard that I grew last year. And I'm going to grow those seeds out again this year. You can get Hopi Blue flour corn and grow your own, flour corn for making cornmeal or corn flour. There are options available. There is a lot of GMO seed too out there. I mean, let's be clear, but that's more on the big ag farms, and a lot of those guys get locked into contracts with those companies, and then they're kind of stuck on it. And because they're using the chemicals and pesticides they're using, they're killing their soil. And then now they're kind of dependent on it. So it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, really. Your feed is lagging. Okay. Yeah. It's a contract thing for the most part. Which, fortunately, they didn't infiltrate like the small seed market that badly. And now that doesn't mean that that you couldn't be contaminated by GMO pollen coming across to your crops. But if you're at least 1,000 feet from any cornfield, you'll probably be okay. Corn typically won't float unless you have really high winds, any more than about 600 feet. Hey, thanks for coming in, Bomber. Thanks for the support, and thanks everybody for being here. I think I'm going to go ahead and close this stream out and switch over to the Paranormal Portal. If there's anybody here who hasn't checked out the Paranormal Portal, although I think most of you have, come on over to the Paranormal Portal and check out Brent's stream. Brent is an excellent host and does all kinds of awesome stuff. Typically not, no, Bomber. But you still have to be cautious. But no, typically they're not Monsanto, or if they are, they're Monsanto under another name, and they're not necessarily GMO. If you buy organic seed, it's not GMO. It can't be GMO and be organic certified seed. So if you buy organic, that pretty much eliminates GMO from what you're buying, at least. Awesome. That's an excellent note to end on, I think. Thanks everybody for coming in. Thanks for watching the Pharmacy Seeds Network. I hope we'll see you. I'm going to try and do this stream, I think, every week, because this gives me an opportunity to interact with the YouTubers more, whereas the Sunday night radio net just kind of occupies all my attention. Hey, UT33200, appreciate you coming in too. And hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. Good to see you in here. Alright guys, I'm going to switch over to Paranormal Portal. Have a great night. Thanks for watching. Thanks for participating. Really appreciate it.